Yo dudes and dudettes, your friendly neighbor JaxBlade is back, and I just saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem at an early screening at my theater, so I figured I might as well just do a review on it because I've become like a turtle reviewer at this point. So first things first, the art style of this film I thought was very like interesting because it reminded me of, you know, something, it had that sort of like, that aesthetic that reminded me of, you know, like Spider-Verse or Arcane or freaking Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, or stuff like that. That sort of aesthetic. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm digging this. And I only saw the first teaser trailer because like I only watch one trailer because I feel like other trailers just give so much away. And I was just like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to see anything else. And so one of the things I really liked about the trailer, which I really liked about in the movie, and don't worry, I won't do any spoilers. I'll give you fair warning if I do any spoilers, is I really liked how the Turtles in this, out of every generation, I've seen all of them. You've been on my channel, you know I've seen all of them. These ones feel the most like actual teenagers because they're voiced by actual teenagers. So like the way they act, the way they talk, the way they do a bunch of stuff. Like some of the things were like, oh, that reminds me of my freaking niece, or that reminds me of my little cousin and stuff like that. The way they're like responding to each other, the way they have in their conversations. And I gotta say, like that was a cool change. Like it's crazy after what, like over 30 years at this point and stuff like that. It's just been they've always felt either like 20-year-olds or people in their 30s or feel like teammates. Like I think the most recent one in Rise, they felt like, you know, sort of teenagers, but they felt more like college bro teenagers than actual like teenagers. No, these ones actually feel like, okay, yeah, that's a 15-year-old, that's a 16-year-old, which I thought was like a really fun thing to just witness for the first time. And all the Turtles' personalities are nailed, so like that was like absolutely solid. But one thing that actually had me genuinely cracking up was Donatello was genuinely a weeb. And I don't mean like, you know, one of those fictitious weebs where, you know, like instead of watching a show like One Piece, they'd watch a show like Two Piece, like they made it up for the universe. No, he actually watches legit anime. Like he is a big fan of JoJo's. He is a big fan of freaking Jujutsu Kaisen because he has Gojo on his staff. He's a big fan of Attack on Titan, which plays into a plot point later on, which made me crack the fuck up. And then like the other turtles, you know, Mikey, standard party dude. Again, like he's like very much into the arts and comedy and stuff like that. Again, typical Mikey stuff. Raph, again, what's funny is they actually identified like, oh, Raph has an anger issue. Like, bro, you need to go to therapy for that or something like that. That had me crying. And then Leo, again, is just trying to be a leader. He sort of feels like a less competent version at first of his 2012 self, where he's like a nerd and he's like, no, I'm the leader, guys. And then like he's always nervous and trying to be the leader. So all the Turtles' personalities are very much in check with like the core character. And that's a key thing with a lot of people. I think that was one of the reasons why, sadly, a lot of people didn't connect with Rise, because every character felt like different. Well, not necessarily. Like I would say only Leo felt like really massively different, and then sometimes Raph. But like all the characters, the Turtles have their core personality, so you don't have to worry about that. Splinter is, you know, great. Jackie Chan actually is very hilarious voicing Splinter in this movie. And April feels this April is very mellow. She's very chill. Like she's not like as hyper as Rise April was. Like Rise April was just like saying her name all the time and like, you know, jumping around doing crazy stuff. But she's not also angsty teen like 2012 April, who she's just like, okay, like calm down now, lady, stuff like that. But she was just very mellow. And for the villains of this movie, I actually am very happy because for a CGI TMNT film, they all actually stand out. Because you got Superfly voiced by Ice Cube, who does a great job of just being the antagonist and villain. He actually says some stuff that made me second guess, like, wait, what is this rated? But like, yeah, he's hilarious, and he's also like intimidating at points. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then you got like, you know, the classics of Bebop and Rocksteady, you know, just being themselves. And then for 1987 cartoon fans, you know, you got stuff like Leatherhead is in here. And then you got Wingnut as well, and then Mondo Gecko, and then others and stuff like that. So it's cool little things that you just, they have the designs, but they sort of upgrade them for this movie too, or just like, you know, modify them to fit this realm. And it's like, okay, this works. But the cool thing I really appreciate about it is like all the villains have like their little personality quirks, and then all of them have like their little you know, things that just make them stand out individually. So you go, oh, I remember that, yeah, that's Wingnut, oh, that's that. Like, it's not like a certain other film where like no one remembers the name of the villains without using Google, and don't try to try it now because I just got your ass. But like, you know, it's like, I really like that each villain was very much able to stand on their own, like with their certain thing, or like if not stand on their own, just be memorable, like, oh yeah, I remember that freaking character and stuff like that, and then how they talked. Another thing they did that I absolutely love is they actually explained how the TMNT get food, they get groceries, they get stuff like that. They actually fully explain like, oh, this is how they do it, because you know, when you watch stuff like 1987 or 2003 or 2012, it was like, where are you getting the money for this? Like, how do you get pizza every night? Like, what do you do? Like, in this movie, they straight up explain, like, okay, this is how they get all their food and stuff like that. And another thing, design-wise, I want to just say this, because it was something that I was just like, okay, that's a bit weird. All the humans in this film look actually more mutant than the actual mutants. So like, it's a weird design choice. Like, I guess like the way they went about it is supposed to be like a teenager drawing in their sketchbook. Not saying that teenagers don't know how to draw. Like, I'm sure like there's phenomenal artists who watching this who are teens, you know, stuff like that. So keep respect, keep up what you're doing. You know, you're gonna just keep getting better and better. But like, the way they're drawn is very abstract. The only human in this film who really looks normal is April. Like, April is the only one who looks normal. But overall, I was saying I'm having fun with this movie. I said like I had a pretty good time, but a big old 1987 April, but I want to say this to people out there. If you are primarily a fan of Ninja Turtles when it is mostly serious, you know, like the original comic books, the 1990 movie, the 2003 cartoon, the 2007 movie, most of the 2012 series later on, or like freaking, you know, Batman vs. TMNT, etc. Like, you know, that darker tone for TMNT. I'm just gonna say it, this film probably is not up your alley, but I will say this, because so many people, I already know like there's gonna be some TMNT fans like dunking on this film just because it's so goofy. Like, it is ridiculously goofy. Like, it's one of those things where the writing I think is pretty funny, but like the story is just so goofy. However, if you saw Turtles Forever, there is a big scene in Turtles Forever where they show like there's multiple dimensions of different turtles, and like that's why there's the 80s Turtles, 2003 Turtles, and that's why I wanted Turtles Forever 2, where we get the 1987, 2003, 2012, and Rise TMNT to all just team up together in one like big ass crossover, just because I think that would be freaking great. And then like, you know, the 2012 Turtles met the 1987 Turtles multiple times in their show. So this is very clearly something you have to take as its own thing. If you do this thing where you go, no, this is bullshit, I remember when TMNT was peak and stuff like that, it's like, no, okay? This is just a different universe and it's not for you. But the cool thing is you can rewatch your TMNT 2003 all the time. Like, because remember, there's over 100 plus episodes of TMNT 2003. There's over 100 plus episodes of TMNT 2012. You can rewatch the movies whenever. You can do all this stuff. Like, because sometimes what people do is they make it seem like those things are just completely gone. And it's like, no, you just rewatch them anytime you want. But yeah, this film does a lot of goofy, silly stuff. Like, one of the things, okay, so light spoiler here, if you even care about this, is like, Leo has a crush on April this time around. Instead of Donatello, it's Leo that has a massive crush on April this time around. And I was just like, okay, like that was just an interesting thing to me. But another thing that I found very, very interesting was, okay, so Splinter gets with someone a day. I won't specify who, just because I think that's funny. But like, yeah, that's something I find like really funny, is he got with someone at the end. And I was just like, that will definitely make a lot of people upset. But then also, there's going to be some stuff where at the very end, they did a groundbreaking thing that I don't think any TMNT stuff has done. The Turtles are recognized as heroes, and so they can now go to public school. And that is like the first thing ever. So like, I gotta give you respect for like doing something as groundbreaking as that, where it's like, no, the Turtles are actually able to go to school now. They're actually able to talk to students, and they don't have to hide in the shadows 24/7. And so some people may be upset like, oh, that's completely taken away this, but it's like, hey, you gotta change the formula every now and then, and those other formulas aren't gone. So it's just like, hey, yeah, this is what's going on now. So I thought that was like, oh, damn, that that's a pretty big deal. But I know even me saying like, hey, take it as its own thing, doing this, there's gonna be like a bunch of people like, oh, fuck this. Like, as a matter of fact, I feel like Joseph Joestar with like how I can predict certain things, because I feel like in the next couple weeks or something like that, after some certain fans see this film, they're going to post that one clip from TMNT 2007 because it's the only clip people remember. And when you ask them any other thing about that movie, it's just like, that rooftop scene was peak. Oh, and I remember, I have nostalgia for that film. I saw it when I was a kid. Like, that's it. Like, again, watch this video here if you want to understand why I'm critical of TMNT 2007. But like, people will post that clip and be like, yo, you remember when TMNT was peak? And then it'll be like, blah, blah, wine, cocoa, you know, all this other stuff like there. And then it's just like, whenever you try to bring up, yeah, but what about the rest of that movie? They just look like a deer in the headlights. I'm sorry. All right, anyways, all that said, I had a fun time with the film. I gave those pre-warnings to people who are like more into the very serious thing. And if you are a person who's open-minded and wants to go see it, definitely go check it out. I highly, highly, highly recommend it to just TMNT fans, just if you want to see it in general. If you didn't like it, fine. If you did like it, cool. But okay, so like, it's just one of those different things. Everyone has different tastes, but okay, let's be chill about this. I actually really enjoyed the writing of this film for some parts of it, because I like, once I just was able to identify this is its own thing, that made this so much easier a ride. Also, something I just want to recommend to the people who prefer the more darker or somewhat darker like TMNT stuff, there are tons of IDW comics, and that is pretty much like peak TMNT. Like, if you read those comics, it's like, why can't we get this animated? But it's primarily because all the Nickelodeon stuff, so they probably couldn't do the darker storylines like that animated, but I digress. It's really great. And then also, you know, we have a freaking The Last Ronin video game coming out within, you know, the next couple years, but the thing is, like, years start to go by faster as you get older, so like, that'll be here sooner than you know it, so that's something to look forward to. But if you saw TMNT Mutant Mayhem, tell me what you thought in the comment section down below. If you are going to see it, let me know. If you're not going to see it, let me know. Hit the bell icon, subscribe. I'll have tons of other fitness stuff. Again, for people out here like, why is he talking about this? I want fitness stuff. Like, again, TMNT is a special thing for me now. I'm also actually working on a mega TMNT movie review, sort of like how I did my animated review for a bunch of people out there. So that'll be something to look forward to. But if you made it this far in the video, type in Mutant Mayhem down below. And then, again, let me know what you think. And remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on, and don't forget, Momentai. Gonna take my friend to see it on Wednesday as well, and hope you all enjoy it. But again, pretty fun time. Also, did you see those pizzas they have? I'm gonna go grab some.